I can see how this would look kind of crazy, but I'm convinced that there is something to this that is real, that is measurable. It is a valid form of analysis of mathematics. Um, from the surface, people would probably identify it as numerology, but it's much more than that. It's a valid, legitimate form of mathematics. I call it chaos mathematics because it's the math that takes all thought into consideration. And when you understand chaos mathematics, you're basically there's nothing that can go through your mind that isn't measured, and everything in your mind is compared with everything else in real time. And if you really look into the how I can speak for myself, but I think I'm guessing that people can relate to this. That there's many different things that are happening at once. Like for example, you might be thinking about a certain, taste in your mouth when you heard someone else's phone number. That makes a difference. Like if you ate something that you liked, and during that time, you just entered someone's phone number, that makes a difference than the opposite. Okay, so with that in mind, I think there's a valid explanation to the ordering of the numbers of the Daf Yomi and this special kind of what I call chaos mathematics. Like to bring this into relevance, we had the term Kesudas Shlomo Bishaso, like the meal of Solomon at his time. And this was referenced in today's daf, the daf of May 21st, 2024, or the 13th of ER 5784. And this same expression came up. In fact, the whole story came up. April 17th, Wednesday, April 17th, 2024. The daf was Bava Metzia 49. So, what I said in the last video is how would you make sense of that? Is there a reason that it came up on that day and exactly on this day? And I'm going to try to pull together within my world the reason why that would happen. And I said in last video about this topic that the only way the only way I'm able to make sense of it is through gematria. So you take the value of the word Kesudas, Shlomo, Bishaso in the most universal, regular cipher, which is just regular Hebrew gematria, where Aleph is 1, Beis is 2. When you get to Yud, it's 10. It goes by tens. We get to 100, it goes by hundreds. That's the most common. That's a classic gematria cipher. Now, there's many other gematria ciphers. There's ordinal gematria where you're just counting 1 through 22. There's a gematria cipher where there's Atbash, where Aleph is equal to Taf, and Beis and Shin. That's a different cipher. There's many ciphers, and I think they're all important. They're all useful, and they're ones that are close seconds. Close. But anyway, there's Mispar Katan, which is very valuable, which you're doing just only only single digits, 1 through 9, and then when it gets to 10, you just add them. You reduce them again to a single digit. That's also very valuable, although it's very general, but it's still valuable. Now, okay, just getting off the point here, I want to stick right on the topic. Kesudas Shlomo Bishaso in regular Hebrew gematria is 1,713. So you have a result, okay? You have 1713. Now there's another cipher where you can look at a 4-digit number, and this is the idea came to me that just now, but it's legitimate. If you see a 1 next to any number, the rule is you can add it and it becomes a single digit, and you can keep the other digits as they are. For example, 1713 can be 174 because 13 is a 4. Very simple. You just add 1 and 3, and you can keep the 17 where it is. And why is that? How does that help? How is that useful? It's incredibly useful if you Number one, you need to use the law of permutation. Permutation means if I see a 174, it is exactly the same as 417. And you have to know when to apply it, because you can't apply it to quantify things. If you go to a store and you say, that cost 417, but I only have 174, so it'll probably work, right? It's good enough, right? No, it's not good enough. And if it costs 417 and you give them 741, that person will be a fool. You know what I mean? It doesn't work in quantifying. It works only in identifying. Permutations work amazingly with identification, and don't confuse them with quantification. Kesuda Shlomo B'Sha'aso is equal to 1713. This came up on the day that I met someone named Shlomo. His middle name is Shlomo. But I met him on April 17th. But the gematria is 1713. But if you do that other cipher that I mentioned, that the 3 and the 1 is a 4, it's 174, which is 417. What's 417? April 17th. I met Shlomo. I'm calling his second name is just as good. Now that's interesting. You'll say, okay, that's cute. You got a gematria and you correlated to a date that you met that person, and it happens to be that terminology happened on that day's daf and on May's 21st daf. But that's one isolated example. Can you show me more about that? Yeah, I can show you more. There's another cipher called folding and splitting, that if anytime 2 digits occur, you can fold it together. So 1713 can be 173. And this person's English name, Shlomo, is also Francis. And today, several things came up with Francis, because there's a gematria cipher called Francis Bacon gematria, and it was made by the people of Gematrianator. And Francis Bacon was coded today, but his English name is Francis. The same Shlomo. But today's Tuesday, and Tuesday is the same value as Ethereum, which is in English ordinal, which is 95. But the one who runs Ethereum is named Vitalik Buterin. And if you do the gematria of his name, it equals 173. So if it's Tuesday, and I'm thinking all this, and 1713 is understood as 173, do you think that that's by accident?